This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
All right, so I'm back here today. This particular one, I'll throw some images right here. Maybe a video clip, we'll see. I don't know what I have because I can't remember. But I had a service call on this, and what I ended up finding was that there was a burnt electrical feed right here, okay? This is the remnants of it. Now this one right here, I already diagnosed that it had a bad electrical feed. If you come up here, the wire's burnt, and the electrician was in here. He left all this stuff off. I had it all covered up. But the wire's burnt all the way down in there, and it goes all the way down into the conduit. So they need to replace the entire electrical feed. The electrician came out and pulled a new feed, okay? So before I give you any comments on this, the electrician has already left and he is done, or they are done. So you tell me what you think of this job. So this is what I walk up and I see. Okay, not even giving my comments yet. Let's see what the inside of this box looks like. Okay, oh, that's lovely. I can't not give my comments. This is asinine. Does that look like a legit legal ground? Does that look safe? Where's the screw? Where's the gasket? Don't worry, they left their old stuff, but that's not it. Look at the conduit hangers. Okay. Yeah, that seems legit, right? Oh, that's really nice. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's look at this. Step over here. Oh, just in case we need some extra conduit for another visit of some sort. And then we come over here, and yeah, that looks really nice. That's just amazing. Oh, and you know, it's gonna be so easy to open up those electrical panels now. Like, just super easy. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, oh yeah. Just, you know, whenever you do work on the roof, especially electrical work, it's always best to leave remnants of your job. That way people know that you were here, right? And then zip ties. Zip ties are great for conduit strapping. And yeah, and also too, you don't need to have a penetration that actually fits the electrical feed. There's no need for that. Absolutely no need for that. This is insane, guys. I'm just dumbfounded. Absolutely dumbfounded. You know, I realize it's hard to find technicians right now, but there is nothing about this that is acceptable. Absolutely nothing. And then we come up into here. I don't know why this was not left like this. This was, I think, up here somewhere. Yeah, right there. So someone took that out. And then I guess the electrician knows best and probably knows that you don't need bushing right here. And I guess it's too hard to take this bushing out and insert it right here. Because this bushing, you know, it's got to be there to protect the air from rubbing out on the box, right? I'm just dumbfounded. Like, that's great. It's like they pulled the disconnect off, disconnect's loose. This is ridiculous. I mean, just beyond ridiculous. This poor restaurant has been without an air conditioner for going on a month now because they were waiting on the electrician to run this. And I get it, people are busy. I'm not upset that it took them a month to get to this job. I'm upset because of this poor workmanship. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm literally in a Lowe's parking lot. How hard would it be to run over to Lowe's and get some conduit hangers, right? Oh, but you know what, in all fairness, they did this job overnight, so you know what, they didn't have the conduit hangers. Okay, cool. Run it so that way you can send someone back and put proper conduit hangers underneath it. This looks like my 15-year-old did this job that had absolutely no idea how electrical works. This is ridiculous. Like, you know, I don't like talking crap about people. You know, the interesting thing is, the company that did this, several of their technicians watch my videos because they tell me that when they run into me. You guys, shame on you. Shame on you for this work. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, so even though I'm frustrated with this, I'm gonna fix a few things. I'm gonna put a nipple right here, a chase right here, protect that wire. Okay, I'll do that. I might be able to get some hanger straps. This is stupid. They totally wallowed out that hole. It's just dumb. I'm gonna try to fix what I can here because I want this customer to get air conditioning. So let's get back to the problem at hand, okay? This AC had a burnt electrical feed at that LB over here, okay? This LB had some splicing lugs in it, okay? And here's what I don't understand. Like, they pulled out a ground wire. Look right here. There was a splicing lug for the existing ground wire that was running down in the conduit to the breaker panel. And they pulled out the ground wire, ran new wire, but didn't pull a ground, and then just, I mean, I gotta go turn off power before I stick my fingers in here, but that's not even grounded. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 strands of that ground wire that are touching the screw. 10 strands. Luckily this is metallic conduit and luckily it's grounded, but this is stupid. Like, just dumb. I just don't understand incompetence. I don't even know. All right, well, anyways, we had a burnt electrical feed in here. Why it burnt, I think we had loose lugs or something. This was what was left of the bolt-on lugs. It looks like someone used like some kind of a heat sink compound or something. I don't know. I don't know who installed the original ones, but we had burnt lugs. They had to pull a new feed all the way down to the breaker panel. They took care of that. What caused it, I don't know. So when I originally diagnosed it, I came out here and I tested everything to ground. I didn't find any direct shorts to ground, but I still don't know if there's any problems with the AC. So when I did that, what I actually did was disconnected the low voltage because I didn't want the electrician to cross the phases, which I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the phases aren't crossed. So I'm gonna check all that. We're gonna make sure the unit starts up, then we're gonna test every compressor. We're gonna open up the contactors. I'm pretty sure these contactors are gonna be trash, so we're gonna check those out and see if we can get this unit up and running for this customer. All right, I noticed something funny because I turned off power, isolated it, switched the bushing over to this side, removed it from this side. That was super easy. I marked the phases, who knows if they're even right, and then I went to go put it back in. I cut the wires short, put them in there. This lug is stripped out. It won't tighten. I noticed it was kind of hard to loosen, and so we've got a busted lug right there. That sucks. All right, it has been a day, my goodness gracious. Okay, so here's the deal. That breaker, or actually it was a safety switch, I could not get, and I could not get the lugs for it. No go. So what I ended up doing was going to an electrical supply house and finding a safety switch. Now this is a non-fused safety switch because maximum overcurrent protection on this unit is 100 amps, and we have a 100 amp circuit breaker downstairs. So I'm getting ready to test phase rotation next. I sent someone to go get a cover for this guy because I didn't get one when I was at the supply house. I went ahead and put a box lug right there with the terminal going straight down. Now that's not right, I know, but this is all that I have here until the electrician pulls a ground, because I don't know. I don't even know what the code is. I know in the past you can use it on this bigger stuff. Honestly, I'm very afraid to look in the attic because if they did such a poor job up here, it makes me wonder if the conduit's all broken in the attic and stuff, and like a nightmare. I mean, look at this, I'll have to tape that up. This whole thing is just a giant mess. It's stupid. But anyways, we're gonna get a cover for that, and then we're gonna turn on power and check phase rotation next. All right, now what we're gonna do, when you do these, you gotta make sure you really get it centered in that screw. I've had the times where I break the screw off because I don't have it centered. Nice and tight, there we go. This one calls for 35 pounds. All right. There we go, looking good. looking good. Looking good. It's not ideal. I'm not in love with this. I honestly, 1/0 wire for this, I feel like that might be slightly oversized because minimum circuit ampacity is 88 amps. Maximum fuse or circuit breaker size is 100 amps. We're not using any of the extra stuff. I don't know, 1/0 wire just seems big to me, but hey, I'm not an electrician. They know better than me, right? Okay, so fixed all that. We're safe. None of the wires are gonna rub out. It's not ideal, but you know, it's polishing a turd. We got it all properly strapped with clamps all the way across. I was a little short on wire. I'm not in love with this right here going up, but I mean, realistically, what else are you gonna do? The old wire was running that way. You're not gonna run it over here, so yeah, whatever. All right, we went ahead, all the contactors. I have someone else here with me today, so I had them change all the contactors because they were pitted. Mind you, this is the restaurant that I just changed the compressor on, that single phase because of the contactors. So I'm very leery about these contactors. So we changed those preventatively. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to disconnect 24 volts right there. So that way the unit can't run. We're gonna turn it on and we're gonna check phase rotation all the way up into here. We'll check it right here. Boom, boom, boom. Make sure we have proper phase rotation, and then we'll go from there. Did I mention that we're in the Coachella Valley and it's 102 in the shade? When the sun comes out, right now we're under like kind of shady skies, but when the sun comes out, it hits 108, 109. So I'm waiting for my technician to get back with the LB cover. As soon as he does that, I've already checked incoming voltage. I've turned on power, so it's 211, 212, 211. But we need to check phase rotation right here. And then once we confirm phase rotation, we'll bump the contactors, make sure those are good. Then we'll hook up 24 volts and hope nothing blows up. Because all this, and we don't know what caused that electrical short, you know, in that LB. Was it the lug on here? Was it already loose? I don't think so. I think it happened when the electrician did it. But, you know, it could be something else. I tested the compressors to ground. There's no compressors to ground. But, you know, we got to turn it on and just see what happens. All right, I think if I turn this on, nothing will blow up. Let's make sure the VFD doesn't start turning on. It's not. Okay. All right, power's on. So now we're gonna check phase rotation. Let's go from here to here. Line 1, line 2. Now it's asking for line 3. There's line 3 and it's line 3, 2, 1. So we have them crisscrossed. So I got to turn it off and reverse the phases. So I turned it off, and then we're gonna wait for it to power down because the VFD, it takes a few minutes for it to completely power down. And then we'll reverse the phases. So here we go again. I've reversed the phases, so let's make sure that we're good. Line 1 to 2 is 212. Now it's asking for line 3, so take that off, put it right there. Line 1, 2, 3. So our phase rotation seems correct now, and we've got the right voltage. So at this point, we're gonna turn the disconnect off. We're gonna connect the transformers back. We're gonna hope this thing doesn't blow up on us, because we don't know what's going on here. So give it a second for the VFD to completely power down. We're good. 1, 2, 3, please don't blow up. Get ready. Okay, it's coming on. You seeing anything? It's full blast right now. Good? Nothing crazy? Okay, come on up. Bye. All right, we are running. It was interesting, it started up and then the third stage turned off. It like turned on and then turned off. I don't know why. VFD's running at 40 hertz. Oh no, it's only calling for first stage because the VFD is running at 40 hertz. So it'll go to like 58 hertz when it goes for third stage. So we're running. Cool. right, we're gonna keep giving it time. Let the third stage come, or second stage, I guess I should say. Second stage come on, and we'll see if this unit's working now. All right, third stage has powered on. It's running. Compressors are warm. Cool suction coming back. VFD went up to 60 Hertz. I know it's flashing for you guys, but it's not flashing for me. It's really important, trust me, whenever you're working on these units with VFD, stand to the side when you power them on. You don't want them blowing up on you. They shoot crap across the roof when they blow up. So we're gonna let this run for a bit. We're gonna test some current. I shouldn't have zip tied these yet because I need to test the current on these. This disconnect switch doesn't allow you to open the cover when it's on. Sometimes they have like a little thing that you can turn to override it so you can open it, but this one doesn't have that. So I got to test current from over here. So the unit's running about 70 amps. Yeah, 60 amps on that leg. So 70 amps, that's going to be one of the legs that's running all the condenser fan motors probably, because they're single phase. This is the heaviest load this unit will be under. It's about 85 degrees in the dining room, the area that this controls. So like I said, we're gonna let this run for a little bit, kind of cool down the room, and then we're gonna start cleaning some things up. I gotta come up with a cover for that right there. And then we just gotta kind of clean up our messes, take some pictures, but I think it looks a lot better than the way that the electrician left it, right? And then we did find a cover for this. I didn't want to go all the way to the electrical supply house. Sometimes if you go to the electrical supply house, you can get just the cover. I just went to the hardware store, Home Depot, and just bought a whole LB. Got a cover with a gasket, so that's good. So yeah, we're in kind of cleanup mode now. All right, this guy's kicking butt. Now I didn't gauge up on it, but we've got a great temperature differential. I think we have 56, 57 degree air supply side. And we're in the 80s on the return side, but it's got an outside air damper, so it mixes a little bit of outside air. Disconnect switch is right here. I'm gonna get a cap for that. We're gonna come back because it's 110 now that the sun's out, and it's killing us on this roof right now. We've been up here for 6.5 hours. So I'm done for today. We'll come back another day, follow up, make sure the unit's still working right, and then try to cap up that hole and stuff like that. All right, let's evaluate this guy right here. So first stage, we're looking good. This is a fixed orifice metering device. Target superheat is 5 degrees. We're at about 3.5 degrees. That's not too bad. Subcooling's within range. Approach temperature, outdoor air temperature is about 100 degrees. Temperature split is not that great, but I probably have some issues with my probe placements because I know this guy's kicking butt. Okay, so we're looking good there. Yeah, my probe placement's jacked up because 7261. I just don't got a good supply air probe on this guy, but I'm not too concerned about that because I know that the TD is great. Okay, circuit 2, let's go back. Circuit 2, about 2.5 degrees superheat, about 12 degrees subcooling, that's fine. No issues there, approach is fine. Yeah, not seeing an issue on second stage. Third stage, superheat is a little bit high, but I'm gonna tell you why. Because third stage is pulling outside air. So that's why we're gonna have a higher than normal superheat and the higher than normal suction pressure. Subcooling's where it needs to be. I'm not concerned about it. Head pressure's where it needs to be. So I didn't think there was gonna be any problems with the refrigerant pressures. This unit's been working fine for about a week. I actually had to come back out here because the original day that I came out here, because this is I'm back now, right? So the original day that I came out here, I never planned on being here that long, and I was supposed to work on their waitress reach-in. So I had to come back today to work on the waitress reach-in, jump back up on the roof. One thing I will say, this is not ideal, but you can see how much sand gets sucked into that unit. That's the condensate drain. It's all jacked up, but that's a long story too. I didn't really have a great solution for this, but I had some 2.5, 2 3/4 inch reducing bushings. So I just put a 3/4 inch chase nipple there. Again, it's not ideal, but I just siliconed it because that hole was just so darn big. I mean, I don't know what else to do about that. Because even if I tried to go get like a 2.5 inch hole plug, their hole was, it's like they cut it with tin snips or something. They jacked it all up. So the unit though, the customer says it's been working great. No issues there. Everything looks good with the electrical. I did in fact get into the attic, and because I was curious about their handiwork in the attic. And actually, which is interesting, this unit originally had 1-inch conduit on it, right? It's 1.5 inches down in the attic. So I don't know why it had 1-inch conduit to begin with, but it is 1.5 inches going all the way downstairs. It comes down rigid and then it goes to flex and it goes all the way to the panel. So there's no excuse for why they didn't pull a ground up with this guy. That's ridiculous. They should have pulled a ground. I don't like it. I'm gonna bring it to their attention, bring it to the restaurant's attention that they should have pulled a ground. I don't like the whole lug that I put in there and grounding out just the box. That's not ideal. But, you know, I don't know, whatever. They're the electricians. They know more than me, right? All right, so again, I'm not too concerned with the high TDs or the weird TD that I saw, because for whatever reason on these Lennox units, to get discharge air temperature, you just kind of shove it in the bottom of the blower, and it's not very accurate. It's really not that great. I run into that problem every once in a while when you try to put it in there. And then as far as the third stage, I had my temperature probe right here, down here, which is the first and the second stage of the coil. Third stage is really getting a lot of warm air from up here. So the third stage, the target should have actually moved had I moved the probe up to here. Again, I know that this unit's operating. I just wanted to put my gauges on it just to make sure there was nothing funky there, but I don't see the need to evaluate it any further. That high superheat, had I moved my temperature probe up, I know that the targets would have gone up and it would have been, you know, expected to be high. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about this guy. We'll tell him to keep an eye on it. Yeah, and that's it.
Can you tell that I was just a little bit frustrated? You know? Good gosh. So it's such a bummer to see that there's people out there. I know that crazy times right now, and I know it's hard to find employees, but you know, then don't take the work. Like, I would rather turn down work with my company than to do ridiculously bad work like this. And I realize, like, for instance, you know, I was complaining about the pieces of the metallic seal tight that were left on the ground, right, over by the disconnect switch. It's not so much that I was upset. Like, people leave their trash. It's just one of the, even though that frustrates me, that's something I can deal with, okay? But that's like one of those TPO or PTO roofs. I always get them mixed up. I think it's TPO. Someone corrected me recently, but I think it's a TPO roof. It's one of those rubber roofs, right? The pieces of that metallic conduit are sharp and they're embedded in the roof now. So those are potential water leaks in the future. That's the kind of stuff. I'm just dumbfounded. So the way that I think this happened is I think that because some context, the electrician actually came out to do the job previous to this, and they told the manager they had to shut off power to the building, so the manager told them they couldn't do it, so they left. Okay, then 3 weeks went by, so they actually came out after a week, and then they were like, no, we can't do the work, or they wouldn't let them do the work because they didn't want them to shut off power during the day. So that probably irritated them, okay, because they went out there to do the work. And mind you, some more context, this location is out in the Coachella Valley, and oftentimes a lot of the customers out there and restaurants and big, especially franchises and chains and whatever, they pay people to come in from out of that area. Like me, they pay me to come in from an hour and a half away, right? So they pay for my time to drive all the way in there, and then they pay for my time typically to drive back too, depending on the situations. So I could only imagine that other company lives, they're 2 hours away, right, from that restaurant. So they were probably frustrated that they drove 2 hours out there to do the work, couldn't do it, drove 2 hours back. Now, but again, you know, that's whatever, okay? Better planning or something. So 3 weeks later, took forever. They came back out to do the work, and they did it at nighttime. Okay, so I could imagine in my head, I'm thinking that more than likely they sent someone out that didn't originally look at the job, didn't know what to expect, just went out with some materials, probably didn't have all the electrical clamps, probably didn't have ground wire, right? That's the way I'm thinking this happened in my head, but I don't know this to be true. I know that several technicians from that particular electrician watch my videos, so shoot me an email. I won't say your names. I won't say your company name. I'm not saying who did this job. I won't blow them up like that, okay? But shoot me an email if you have more context on this. I'm not going to blow you up, but I'm genuinely curious. Like, what happened here? Where was the disconnect? Was it just a massive miscommunication? You know, was there just an apprentice on the roof when there was a journeyman downstairs pulling wire and the apprentice said he did all the work and the journeyman trusted him? Like, I don't know where this went wrong, but it went massively wrong. Okay. It's just subpar work that is just insane. Right. And I'm sorry that you guys hear me complaining, but like I rarely see stuff this bad. This one was icing on the cake. Like, this was nuts, right? So, and then on top of that, I'm like, okay, I commit to, you know what, I'm going to get this going, because I originally thought like, hey, I'm just going to tell them to call the electrician back. But I was like, man, how long is it going to take him to come back? You know? And how bad was the fix going to be? You know, it's like, you know, because maybe they were going to send out the guy that did the work and he was going to be pissed off and bitter, so he would do even worse, you know? So I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to fix it, right? I ended up cutting a significant amount of that conduit off. By the time I rehung that and pulled it tight to the bottom of the unit and hung it where it should have been hung, that conduit was way too long. And I ended up, and that was kind of sketch too. I wish I would have gotten that on film. I had to cut that 1.5 inch conduit with a bandsaw with wires still in it, with that 1/0 wire in it. Man, I was like inching. It took me forever. I'm not kidding with you. It was a ridiculous amount of time to cut that because I was so afraid that I was going to nick those wires and then it would just been back to square one, having to put lugs in that LB, which is not ideal, right? You don't want to do that. You want a dedicated feed. The LB is just for pulling wire. But yeah, that was a whole thing, right? I would have had to put a box there or something, but still, that's just not ideal, because if they're not serviced, those lugs even inevitably are going to come loose and just, you know, problems, right? But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But I was so sketch cutting that conduit, but I was able to safely do it. I was just like so slow with my bandsaw, being very, very careful. But we got that taken care of, right? And then I go to hook up the disconnect and I'm like, dude, the disconnect is stripped out. You know, like, are you serious? Like, come on. And then I start, here's the disconnect right here, right? And mind you, this is not a breaker, even though it looks like a breaker. I actually got into an argument, not an argument, but when I walked into the electrical supply house, because I took this with me, and I was like, dude, I need lugs for this safety switch. And the guy looks at me and he looks at that and he goes, well, first off, that's a breaker, not a safety switch. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm looking at it. And right here, it says caution, provides no overcurrent protection. And I looked at the dude and I said, did you read that little sticker right there that says caution, provides no overcurrent protection? And he goes, huh, I've never seen something like that. And I go, yeah, see, I told you, this is a safety switch, but semantics, right? I said, I need a lug for this. Can you give me a lug? It was a square D place. And they were like, no, we don't have those. And this is not a standard lug, because I tried, okay? There's little dimples in the side of here where it needs to be the OEM lug. And I couldn't source that when I was there. So thinking, okay, yeah, I imagine I could probably order this or have it ordered and brought in or something, but I needed to get this AC running. So I found it best to go ahead and install another safety switch. We just installed one on the exterior. It doesn't have fuses in it, which is actually ideal on a 3-phase system, because on a 3-phase system, if you blow a fuse, you potentially single phase everything, right? And you cause problems. So if your breaker's sized right, your wire's sized right, use the circuit breaker downstairs, right? So I did that. I put in the safety switch, but I was just blown away that the lug was stripped out too, you know? And it's like, good gosh, that, you know, and on another note, right? Let's ignore all the craziness. Do you think like maybe that guy was having a horrible night? Maybe it was just one thing after another. You know, stuff happens, right? Sometimes jobs turn disastrous. Sometimes people give you a job that's just going to end in failure, right? But if you run into that stuff, just stop and call the office and say, this can't be done. Bottom line, there's nothing I can do. We can't complete this. You know, the lug is stripped out. Maybe it was an accident. You know, nobody told me I needed ground wire, you know, I don't have the right hanger straps, you know, like, I mean, say something. Don't just walk away from the job and bill the customer. I don't even know what they billed the customer. But yeah, and I know I'm already going to get a bunch of people saying they need to sue that electrician. That has nothing to do with me. Okay. I'm just there. I give them the invoice. This is what needed to be done. I'm not being a character witness. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm just there to do my job and get the equipment running. They can deal with all the other stuff on the back end. As long as my invoice is paid, I could care less what happens, okay? So we got them running. Equipment is good. It's operating as best as possible. That restaurant is back and running 100%. All their ACs are working. I did my best, okay? So you guys got to see some frustration here. I'm human, okay? I apologize if you heard me complaining the whole time, but it was a frustrating day. And then on top of that, it was hot, right? And you saw a return visit. And also in the video, there was a weird, awkward point when I was turning on the power. I was talking with my technician. I had a coworker with me there. And you know, I know that doesn't make a lot of sense to you guys in the video, but I was asking him, like, is it running? Is there dust blowing in the building? Because that's the sandy location that we have issues with sand. So when we turned that unit on, the restaurant was occupied. So I had them clear out their bar of all the customers. And then I had my technician go down there and watch as the unit ramped up to make sure we weren't blowing sand all over the dining room too. So that was the weird awkwardness you guys heard with that. But hey, this was just another day. Hope you guys got something from this, maybe what not to do. You know, I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. If you haven't already, please consider checking out my website, hvacrvideos.com. It's a great way to support the channel if you're interested in doing so. Hats, shirts, beanies, sweaters, all that good stuff. We have 2 different sizes of hats. We even have this flag t-shirt right here, right? That has the flag on there, and then it says HVACR videos. This one is available in women's sizes too. It's a V-neck, smaller shirt. So we have that in women's sizes too. If you're interested in getting one for your spouse, or if you're a female technician, whatever, check it out. Check out my website, hvacrvideos.com. Other ways to support the channel if you're interested in doing so, there's Patreon, PayPal, YouTube channel memberships. Those are all different methods of supporting the channel, and there's links in the show notes. You can also go to truetechtools.com if you're interested in purchasing any cool tools. Sometimes you see me using some cool stuff like that WeHaw torque driver. That's from True Tech Tools. All kinds of stuff. So check out truetechtools.com. I like them. I use them personally, and I've set up an affiliate program. So if you're interested in purchasing any of their tools and you like what they have, you can use my offer code Big Picture. That's one word. It'll get you an 8% discount on almost everything. There's a few items that it doesn't work on, but almost everything. And then I get a small commission from that. So that's a great way too. If you're going to purchase tools, just use my affiliate link. You get a discount and I get a small commission. So all right, I really appreciate you. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think down in the comments. We will catch you on the next one, okay?